who you listen to right now that's out there that's maybe on the road or making records right now that's maybe doing it for you or catching your ear and you're going, oh, this is something you're spending some time checking out, with your listening.
Well, we both dig this band London Souls that Derek just toured with and I'm about to tour with.
Yeah.
There's another band called Vintage Trouble that Government Mule's going to tour with here soon. As far as like younger bands and stuff like that, the band Earl Greyhound out of New York I really dig a lot. But then there's veterans like Schofield that everything Schofield does I enjoy hearing.
Or the Wood Brothers.
The Wood Brothers and MMW. MMW with Schofield.
I mean, for me,
I love that Wood Brothers record.
Yeah, new, old, anybody that's doing it proper, anybody that's doing it well, it's an inspiration, man, to see. And there's not enough of it. I mean, there is stuff out there.
That's kind of, I think, why I was asking the questions, because it's like, you hear so many people these days kind of say, I know there's so much great music being made out there these days, but man, I'm not having a hard time getting to it, because of the way that the music business has changed over the years and things like that.
And it's, I think we accept less now. When things are kind of good, we try to make it great.
Like, that was totally okay. And you champion it because it's rare.
But there's still great stuff out there, all the bands Warren mentioned, and there's great artists that are harder to see, but I saw D'Angelo and Questlove, just the two of them together. After Pino played on the record, I got on this voodoo kick. Listen to that D'Angelo record, and there's great, truly great artists still on planet Earth. So I'd like to see them out there doing it more. There's still stuff to see. You just have to search it out. And I think it's important to differentiate the great from the good, and just so you know what you're aiming for. You don't want to aim too low.
And it makes it hard. The music business has changed so much, and it's cliche to just talk about all the changes the business has been through. But it is a really valid point to consider that when I was growing up, and even a few years later, when Derek was growing up, the music that we all learned from benefited from something called artist development. When a band could sign a record deal, and if the record company believed in them, all the pressure was not on them to have a hit on their first record.
Yeah.
If that had been the case, none of our favorite artists would have made it. No, I mean, Aretha Franklin, Ray Charles, Otis Redding, the Allman Brothers.
Yeah, imagine the world without Ray Charles because of artist development not being available.
But in the event that you're under the pressure of having your first record be successful, that's not just an insurmountable amount of pressure, it also means that you compromise your first record. And everybody should have the right to make their first record the way they want to make it. And young artists and bands don't have that because they're having to second guess what they think can be marketed. And so
they're
that
always,
in turn lowers the bar.
They're always chasing the last thing that happened to be successful, like making a Dell record. They don't want to make that record.
So I just made that record.
Yeah, that record already happened.
And by the time you figure out what to chase, it's changing.
So, and there's 20 other people that have already chased it.
Which is, you just have to keep chasing your thing, and I suppose, if I had to answer, then I'd be doing all right. But that's an unfair position to put artists in these days.
I was thinking about that the other day.
It robs them of their.
When you think about it like an American Idol type artist, then they're robbed of the right to make a record that establishes an identity, because when you're forced to make a record that is under pressure to sell, who knows who they are on their first record? Nobody knows who they are on their first record.
You have to find out.
In the event that you're not allowed to say, I'm not comfortable with this, or this doesn't sound like me, and the pressure you're getting of going, well, we want this record to sell, so we want you to do this and this and this and this. at that point, you've started your decline.
Yeah.
Unless the record sells 12 million copies,
Right.
what do you do?
And even then you're toast because it's not good. If it sells that many, it's probably not very good.
But
Yeah, then you actually might be in some real trouble, actually.
That's right.
But at least at that point, you can fire people.
That's
And-
true.
Yeah, but if you're selling 12 million, yeah, your first week, it's like, well, it was your fault, and you're out of here now.
You can fire people, and then they'll say your next record was terrible because you got rid of everybody who made the first one great.
But you know, I think that's why it's important to be stubborn about it. Like whatever it is that you do, whatever your musical identity is or you think it is, you know, we've been incredibly fortunate to. We've been really stubborn along the way.
Mhm.
We've made the exact music we've wanted to make the whole time, and it's, you know, it's a slow build, but it's become successful. You know, but you go through those times in the beginning, and you don't care one way or the other. You don't care how many records you're selling or how many people are showing up, as long as you can keep the group together, as long as you can keep it rolling. But it's
love what you just did.
absolutely, you know.
Yeah.
So it's important to remain stubborn when it comes to the music making part. You know, other things you can bend and try things, but the music and the art, that has to be uncompromised. I don't think there's any way to dabble in compromising with music. it's really, it's all or nothing. You know, I think that's just the way it is.
There are ways to, but you don't want them.
No, I
You
mean,
don't
yeah.
want to do it.
It's, you
There's
know, it's,
people out there doing it.
it's the Bill Hicks. It's like then you're off the artistic roll call
Forever.
It's like you made your choice.
Yeah.
That's fine. but
Bill Hicks,
But you
tremendous
know-
life coach.
That's right, absolutely.
But you know that
I think my kids listen to him.
Whoa, they're ahead of the game.
But you know, the fact is that you're forcing people to compromise, and what we're basically doing is teaching people that in order to be successful, you got to compromise right from the very beginning, even though history has kind of shown us the opposite of that as far as longevity in a real career is concerned.
Yeah, well, you guys are both examples of, you know, players who have had a long and successful career by sticking to your thing and doing it. You know, you like you said, you're very fortunate. You get to play in the Allman Brothers. You get to have your other band. You get to have the other project that you get to do when you get some time off from these two projects,
Yeah.
which are, you know, take up a considerable amount of your time.
And it's not that if you give that advice to someone, you're not assuring them that it's going to work. It's going to be an uphill battle regardless of which path you choose, but at least you'll enjoy your own work and feel like you have a shot at some sort of longevity.
Yeah.
If you chase the trends, you know that your next step is going to be down.
That's a losing decision, because
And
like
it's
you
nice.
said, it's like they're just changing all the time anyway, and you're
Yeah.
not unless you're gonna pick out what the next one is and hop on it before anyone else. And even so what? Then it's over. 15 minutes
It's
later.
good to be able to sleep well at night too.
Yeah, sleeping's good.
know when you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Absolutely.
And you know, and with that, like as careers build, and even from the very beginning, you also deal with like expectations or what people think you should be doing. You know, that factors in. It's not always just the labels. It's always.
Yeah.
I remember starting as a kid, 9, 10 years old. You know, you're playing the music that you hear, so you're playing Allman Brothers tunes, sitting in with bands, and then when you make that decision, I'm not doing that anymore. You know, we're taking this. You have this part of the audience like, oh my God, how dare you? You're supposed to be doing this. You're like,
Yeah.
no. You
Yeah.
don't decide. Actually, you know, you got to play what makes you feel good, and then, you know, you're an instrumental band for a while, then you get a singer, and the people that latch onto the instrumental part, they're like, how could you get a singer in the band? So you have to realize that you
like
also have to,
with your band, you mean? Yeah.
throughout 20 something years on the road, you go through a lot of changes, you know, and then you have to be confident in what you do and feel good about what you do enough to not even worry about this. You have to be your own light. You know, you have to. I mean, there's people you trust that you maybe bounce things off of, but at the end of the day, you know, your taste and what you believe in musically is what has to drive you. You can't even let the audience decide what you should be doing. You know, it's important to keep
Like
that flame lit. Yeah, or you get painted into a corner and you get stuck playing stuff that maybe you once loved but you don't anymore, and you know,
Doesn't give you a chance to evolve as a musician.
Well, so trying to create a situation where your audience wants to go on this journey with you, and hopefully loves every new direction you travel toward or whatever. But we're both in unique situations where a certain part of our audience is based on the Allman Brothers, who we love and would hold up as being one of our favorite bands from where we grew up, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not necessarily the path we would have chosen if we weren't in the band, as far as to go that much toward that audience.
That's not the whole story. Yeah.
And so it's a tough line to draw sometimes, and there are certain parts of that audience that, like you say, expect something, but really don't. You should expect what it is we love to do, and so hopefully, if we do what we love to do, then most people will get it.
Yeah, but you know, end of the day, you just have to. I mean, we get to be around a lot of musicians, and the ones that I noticed that 30, 40, 50, 60 years into their careers that are still fulfilled and still pushing are the ones that have just continued to shed their skin and keep rolling. Like when you're around Herbie Hancock, you think about the amount of careers he's had, the amount of different music, but he's just like, whatever he's into at the moment, that's it, and he does it, and he doesn't care what he did in the past. I mean, he honors it at times, but he's looking ahead. You think of Miles, you think of, you know, even Clapton. I mean, the amount of, he's in 5 different rock and roll Hall of Fame bands. I mean, there's Blind Faith, there's Cream, there's the Dominoes, there's his thing. He's just, whatever it is that moves you at the moment, that's what you do. And if people are up in arms or love it, that's just kind of comes with the territory. You gotta keep rolling.
Well, maybe that is, you know, maybe you're touching on the key there, which is to, you know, find your thing, whatever that may be. Stick with it. Don't be afraid to change over time.
Always be looking.
You know? But like, change it with yourself, not the trends.
You know, Miles is a great example, and I've used that example a lot in the way that Miles made a lot of records that even the jazz community did not embrace when they first came out.
Yeah.
And then 2 years later, everybody would be talking about what great records they were, but when they first came out, the reviews would be, I don't understand where this is coming from.
Sure.
But he was looking forward, not backward, and I think we can all take a cue from that, because even the Miles records that at the time maybe I didn't get are some of my favorite records now.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing, you know. There's the bell curve, and some people are at the front of it. you know.
Yeah, his
and then by the time people catch up, he's past it. He's already on to something else.
Taking the chance that you might alienate some people along the way, that's the only way you're going to get there.
Yeah, that's part of
which I think was a risk he was comfortable taking.
And I tell you what, I mean, he did it in an extreme form, but there's something in that drives you too. Like, it's not that you're looking to alienate people, but when it happens, you're like, I think we're on the right track.
Sometimes, I mean, if you look at his,
it's part of the deal, you know. I think about there's these stories about Sun Ra. Later in his career, some places would book his band because it said Sun Ra Orchestra, and they figured they were getting like some dance band or something, you know, like almost an Elks Club or something. They hire him in.
Whoops.
And when he would see that audience, he would get up. They'd start just dissonance for the first 5-10 minutes, and half the crowd would leave. And then as soon as they were gone, he'd be like, "Now that we got those suit and tie buggers out of here," then they'd play like Fletcher Henderson big band shit that the people that left would have loved to hear. But he's just like, he just got off on, you know what, if you can't hang, you're
that's
not
like
going to get what you want.
One of the only bands in the world that could actually play that joke on their audience.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and like legitimately
do it both well.
Do it both ways.
Yeah, pretty funny stuff. But you know, being a fan of that kind of music, it kind of steels you to those things. It makes you ready for whatever comes. What, you know, and because it's, you know, if you want to do it your whole life, it's there's going to be ups and downs along the way, and you have to enjoy all of it.
And if you are completely consumed with what people think of what you're doing, then you take that to another level. It's like, oh, did you like this lick? What about this lick? This lick meet your expectations?
How was that?
That's
Too much trouble for you? More reverb?
Would you like a little
Yeah,
bit
I
more?
shouldn't have played that dissonant note there. I'm sorry. I apologize.
Well, you know that we are lucky in that sense where it's not like you're not like a chef where people can send back a meal. You're like,
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of a take it or leave it situation.
Sorry, there
Did
was
you
too much
enjoy
trouble
it?
on
I'm
that
sorry.
point.
I want you to enjoy it.
Did
but
you enjoy it?